remember tomorrow. Don't remember tomorrow. I don't remember tomorrow. I don't remember tomorrow. Can you take me home? I don't remember tomorrow. Don't remember tomorrow. Don't remember tomorrow. I don't remember tomorrow. Don't remember tomorrow. Don't remember tomorrow.
I went to sleep 2 hours of Christmas. I don't know what the fuck that was, but that's the most terrible thing to put in this motherfucker's ears. What kind of a business is that to put that lousy, rotten voice on? This thing people are calling it? What the hell is going on? There's no the phone company. You gotta be ashamed of yourself. You can't say quickly your number and I'll call back like a human being. I want that removed immediately. I'll talk to the phone company about this.
I want to live in your place. I want to live in your place.
You're fucking sick. Yeah, fucking sick. Yeah, fucking sick. You're fucking sick. I'm serious. I'm serious.
I want to live in your place. I want to live in your place.
I'm not your picture. I'm your girl. And there is you. My life's in danger. I've got you pictures. I know exactly where you're at. And I've got you pictures and I'm coming over. Oh, I'm not going through that. You can be a death. You can't kill me. If you fast and you'll freak out, you'll never go and try it again. I just look at how much you are. All of it is there. And my baby just sitting around all night. The radio plays rock and roll, and you know that's alright. We're hugging and we're kissing and we're fooling around, keeping it real high. Watching TV, my baby says to me, gee, I like those easy top guys. I'm gonna roll one CC top beer. I'm gonna roll one CC top beer. I'm gonna roll one CC top beer tonight. I'm gonna roll one CC top beer. I'm gonna roll one CC top beer. I'm gonna roll one CC top beer tonight. Me and my baby out cruising around, rocking through the night. Out on the road, it's getting chilly and cold. We're cuddled up real tight. We're hugging and we're kissing and we're getting on down. Our heads are in a spin. One look in her eyes makes me realize she wants more aromatic. I'm gonna roll one CC top beer. I'm gonna roll one CC top beer. I'm gonna roll one CC top beer tonight. I'm gonna roll one CC top beer. I'm gonna roll one CC top beer. I'm gonna roll one CC top beer tonight. Let's boogie. I'm gonna roll one CC top beer. I'm gonna roll one CC top beer. I'm gonna roll one CC top beer tonight. I'm gonna roll one CC top beer. I'm gonna roll one CC top beer. I'm gonna roll one CC top beer tonight. And we're not selling records as many as we should, but the music doesn't matter, the video is good. Oh, the music doesn't matter, the video is good.
Alright, get ready for this.
Okay.
Alright, I think we're ready to test this. See how it works out. And this is just a test, so I'm trying to test audio levels and all that. The music is just to make sure that the microphone is working at all, so if somebody could mention that would be great. We're still on prep, but we're testing.
This is a world now heading for love. We mustn't let it hunger.
They gotta put that down at an angle. Doesn't come out very well, does it? Let's try something.
We build a fire on the circumstance, and in the flames get madness. Break the chains that bind the mind. Learn to kiss the enemy.
The light is really bright, isn't it?
Learn to kiss the enemy.
That's not gonna work. It's too bright. Okay, this testing, people can't see this and I can't review it.
This is a world now ready for love. We mustn't let it hunger.
Alright, testing.
Time to make some peace for ourselves. Learn to kiss the enemy. Learn to kiss the enemy. Learn to kiss the enemy. Learn to kiss the enemy.
Okay, left hand. Much better, I like that. Alright, I think we're onto something here. See, that looks... Okay, yep, we're getting closer. Let's check our feed, see how we're doing there. I think when you show how these are made, it doesn't. It should make it seem more real. Because again, there's nothing really too crazy about this. All right, yeah. If someone can comment on the. If somebody could post on the microphone volume, that'd be great.
Washington light already. I don't know what they're saying, but still the slither on mine. Don't you wanna go to the moon with my soul? Darling, won't you come out tonight? Don't you wanna go to the moon with my soul? Everything will be alright.
Oh, thank you. Right, so as I was just saying, this is pretty much to show how, like this part is just showing how I'm putting this together. Because you have to test a lot of things and see how they work in different lighting and see if they can even be noticeable or not, like something like this, you know. It's great. And you also have to work on like, because it's flipped, so if you're trying to go this way, so yeah, if you're trying to go this way, so when you go left, you go right. Like that, right? I think we're almost there, right? See, even moving it just like that, completely change. Okay, getting closer. See, now the thing with these live videos is that when you have stuff in the background, when you put something in the foreground, you have the audience has to be able to see it. Now, clearly, you can't see this, right? So what is our solution? We have to put it on top of something. That's how this stuff works. See, again, I'm all reversed. So we have to switch this around to go on this way. See? Perfect. We're getting it. We're making it work. Yeah. Okay, we got our props, and we're set to go. See, you have to remember your mark. Because if you've ever been on live TV, you understand how important the mark is. You don't go off your mark. If you get off your mark, then you begin to look like the person like this. So, your head gets here.
There's a dark witness to every crime that I made. When do we learn how to reach out and not be afraid? From my modern point of view, I am dreaming of someone quite like you.
See, I'm trying to diffuse that light. Alright. It's a good question. You think of that.
Love is so noisy, I can't even hear myself. From my someone quite like you. Someone harder.
Okay, yep. We almost got everything. We're almost ready to go. This portion.
Someone quite like you.
Perfect, right? That's pretty cool, right? Okay, alright, so we're ready to go. Turn off the music and do it from first point of view. We're ready to do this.
Walt Disney do the Humpty Dumpty, ride serving paradise. Somewhere in a government building, the future pays the price. It's a glittering processed by the king of the zoo. I took a ride on a merry-go-round. Somebody ripped off the wings of an angel. Somebody else done the holding the ground. We don't live in silent frenzy. We like shooting up pleasure shots. Sometimes love can go forever. Sometimes love decays and rots. It's a glittering Walt Disney do the Humpty Dumpty.
Okay, I think we're ready to start the show. Alright, we're starting it right now. This is when it's starting. Alright, we have a lot of great comment, and I think you're really going to enjoy it. Here's the moment while I turn down our intro music here, courtesy Barnes and Barnes. Okay, so, alright, welcome to probably one of the more real attempts at doing a something live, but also trying to record it and caring about different aspects of production, even though this one will probably not be the pinnacle because, unfortunately, I don't have the sound mixer and microphone ready to go. So I'm going off of the microphone on the laptop, so I'm trying to gauge how high I need to have it up. Somebody said earlier that it seems okay, so we will assume so. You don't have to excuse me. I just came from kickball, so still wearing the same stuff I was. All right. Oh, it's like Mr. Rogers show or something. Okay, so all right. So I'll be honest with you. I wasn't actually wearing this at kickball. I mean, it would be a good choice. It is a perfect example of Evo Ziggurat influences, especially the whole concept of the energy dome, as far as like how it recycles energy from the load and recycles it, thus essentially creating a flow. Right, so, see, and I'm working on this. See, because like when you're watching yourself live, you have to go. So it's just like shaking a pinball table. If you ever played pinball and when you're trying to shake a table, the direction that you want to move the ball is opposite the direction that you move the table. So if I want to move so here's how I prove this. So if you're playing pinball and you notice that the ball is coming down far to the left and you're trying to move it over to the right, you move the table to the left. You shift left to go right. It's it's an opposite sort of thing. But if you can figure that out, then it can really improve your pinball game. And on top of that, it's helping me with video production right now. So I'm thinking about shifting the pinball table. Okay, so this is the first installment of Weekend Roundup. Guy Blah, of course, like all the great Western movies, you know. We will find out if this was a Guy Blah sort of weekend, or was it perhaps a little bit deeper, a little bit better than that, you know. Because what really is a weekend? Is a weekend what you make it, or is it what we assume it to be? Okay, so as I posted when I was at Kickball, which was a pretty good day for me personally. As in, like, you know, I had a good game. I kind of reestablished myself as somebody who can make a lot of catches, because I've been frustrated probably for more than a year, because it seemed like I don't know if it was luck or what you call it, but, you know, people were kicking away from me, and it was frustrating watching other people make what to me would be easy catches seem a lot harder, and the ball would, you know, go all over the place, people would drop it, and so I couldn't quite figure out where to put myself in the field to be as effective as possible. It was like, no matter where I put myself, I was not able to have the same kind of impact as I could have if the ball was coming to me and I had a chance to make a play. So this is not to say that in this lapse of consistent plays that I was lost a step. It's just I didn't have as many opportunities, and it was frustrating. So tonight, well, yeah, it ended around 9:30. So earlier today was really an affirmation that yeah, you know, I can still play the kickball game pretty well, and you know that to me means a lot, because like I've been doing that for about 5 years, and it is truly a fun time. I always have, and you meet a lot of cool, interesting people. It's kind of like when you play pinball. Yeah, this I've had this for quite a while, but this is an original 1976 Jerry Lewis MDA Muscular Dystrophy Association Marathon Jerry Lewis commemorative lug. I said lug. That's a funny description of some of maybe what some people would call Jerry Lewis's characters in his movies, a lug. But this is the official Jerry Lewis movie mug from 7-Eleven, 1976. And so this hasn't been really used in 42 years. It's been in storage. I cleaned it out, and unlike 1976 when it housed a Slurpee, now it's holding something else, and that's been cleaned. And this is the plan all along, was to use this as just another prop for the show, because I've been watching a lot of these YouTube channel things lately, and you know, while I think they are somewhat interesting, I'm kind of glad they've inspired me to do my own. Let's put it at that. And again, this is only the start of it. I'm working with a track light system, and I'm also using the manual settings to adjust the lighting and objects and contrast and details, and you know, just like general aesthetics. And just looking at it, I'm pretty happy with it. Even if nobody's watching this, that's not the point. This is my attempt at doing what I wanted to do, and even though it's not where I would eventually like it to be, I feel it is kind of based on where I'm at this point, as far as testing out props. And I do have access to a nice high-res scanner now for scanning smaller stuff, but just kind of like on TV, you know, kind of like on TV, you have to, really, you know, for the longest time, part of the appeal of LPs on TV, you know, or 12-inch size multimedia, is that you can actually see it when it's held up by the host or the person that's explaining it, you know, and that's why the artwork on these is always, in my opinion, a little bit more design put in than a VHS tape, which is smaller and a little slightly different shape. This is, and again, I'm working against the glare and other stuff, but that looks really good. So yeah, that's the best one I'm going to be able to do from that rear angle. So again, I'm kind of looking with it. Ghostbusters 2 on Laserdisc. Which is starting to bring us into the second segment of our show. Testing this one out just to see how it looks. Yep. What over here? Jaws 2 on Laserdisc. Which, this is the only widescreen version of this movie I've owned. Here, actually, I think I got it figured out. I kind of sold it. I gotta work with it. There we go. I sold it up. Yep, sold up. There we go. Yep. Widescreen Laserdisc from 1991. Very good, very excellent release of this movie. My first time watching this movie was on a VHS tape, which I think I rented, and then later that year I bought the VHS from like a Suncoast Video, probably a Suncoast Video 1995, which was cool because that was my first time being in a store that sold a lot more specific titles than, say, really Kmart. That's up until that point, that was the only place that I bought tapes from. That and probably games in thrift stores. Yeah, this is also similar to that original artwork. So, as I alluded to in different places earlier, yesterday, June 16th, was the 40th anniversary of Jaws 2, arguably the first blockbuster sequel ever. And another personal favorite from 11 years later, June 16th, 1989, Ghostbusters 2. And I'd like to preface these reviews by saying that my opinions on these have been consistent throughout the years. I'm not doing this for the attention of it. I mean, even though it is the anniversary, but my opinions on these two films are consistent to when I saw them, even after rewatching them many times. So I'm not changing my opinion to suit any narrative, anything like that. This is how I feel about these movies. And if it's any indication, both of these are, I own both of these on Laserdisc. This one widescreen. This one, unfortunately, a really weird, not quite 4:3. It's something weirder than that. I can't remember the exact aspect ratio, but when I first got this movie, Ghostbusters 2, it was in 1992 on a X VHS rental, and the aspect ratio is a little closer to the actual aspect than 4:3, regular 4:3 cropping and pan and scan, but it doesn't really satisfy either of those. So I believe a lot of people, when they originally bought this movie, actually returned it because they felt that the literal video release of it was poor or somehow lacking, and that's why I partially think this movie was canned as hard as it was. And, because especially from the time period that this came out, which was a very cynical time for a lot of entertainment that was perhaps not as cynical as some critics or people who at that point maybe kind of grew weary with Hollywood entertainment or other aspects. But to me, this is certainly a fine film that I'm happy to own on Laserdisc. The back art is also pretty good. I believe these are the same three images from the VHS release. Let's see if I can get this without the glare. Yeah, well, that's not really working very well. Yeah, Ghostbusters 2 on Laserdisc. Very, very, very glad to own this. It's not just for the fact that I love Ghostbusters 2 so much, and it's like an LP record size artwork presentation. So for me, right off the bat, it's like, yeah, this is definitely a Laserdisc I'll never get rid of. I'd probably say the same with Jaws too. In addition to being the first widescreen release of this movie, I also feel that the sound mixing, importantly, is pretty good and is probably unedited with any subsequent DVD or Blu-ray releases, which I hate to say I've never even seen. I've only seen this movie widescreen on Laserdisc. The DVD came out. There was a DVD set and also a 2 VHS release of Jaws 2 in 2001, which was right on the heels of the 25th anniversary Jaws DVD release, which was a big event for DVDs, because you have to understand, at this point in 2000, while some classic movies were released and actually did have some decent bonus features, that like that kind of thing going on, there wasn't. Some of the more classic ones hadn't been released until then. For instance, Star Wars wasn't on DVD at this point. I want to say the Star Trek movies were, but I don't think but they were just a basic presentation that was probably pretty close to the widescreen Laserdiscs. But no special features. That started, I think, in '99 or 2000, or even 2001 was the 2-disc release of Star Trek: The Motion Picture, which also had some corrected effects, and I don't know if it had a stemming feature where you could watch either the theatrical version or the quote longer cut that was released on VHS after that point. And I believe, from all indications, I don't think that one was released until 1983. I could be wrong on that, because that movie came out in 1979, but I think probably with the re-editing and all that, it would make sense that it didn't come out on tape until 1983. But, that was to me, a very important movie that came out at the end of 1979. Some people claim 1980, that really, we understand the basic reaction to it, which is that, it's not that good, or it's not really worth the time, it's too boring or whatever, but, aside from people's opinions, which, that's kind of what we're doing now, I would just like really unbiased analysis of things like Star Trek Motion Picture, because even though I personally love it, I would like to see more information that would help me gain a greater understanding of it without influencing my like or dislike. So, I guess, as my friend showed me earlier, that's apparently a new thing with some of this whole YouTube format. Like, apparently, if you know something about something, I guess you can get paid for it. So he was telling me about this person that does YouTube videos about Star Wars and explains the entire legacy canon versus new canon Star Wars stuff, which, I find kind of interesting, but at the same time, though, it's like, well, what's really the incentive to read the books or any of that anymore if you're just condensing it into some, easy-to-swallow format? It's like, that's good, but, for me personally, I'd rather research it myself, so I don't want it all explained to me. I would like to review the information and make up my own mind. And the thing, too, is like when you're on TV, when you have specific things you're thinking about, you have to make it, when you're performing, seem like you're not thinking about these things. So while I was just doing that, I wish it occurred to me to move this down here, as this is now something in the foreground, because I don't really have a background, I don't have a shelf or anything. As far as stuff that is put into the frames of these videos to make them look more interesting and to get more views. Now, somebody, I believe Doug, was asking me. Doug Gartner asks, I'm not sure where he's from. Doug Gartner asks, where does your love of Jerry Lewis come from? My love of Jerry Lewis films and film theory You could totally brand this as ASMR. Okay, well, I don't know what that is, and we'll get to that. Okay, so question, where does your love of Jerry Lewis come from? Really, my love of Jerry Lewis comes from just really watching and listening to Jerry Lewis material, and coming to the realization that I really like it, and really analyzing it and understanding the kind of weird layers and sub-layers of this that are really the Jerry Lewis psyche, which it does play a big role into the Jerry Lewis entertainment career and his personal career. And really a lot of those movies aren't really, there's not really a whole lot of information out there about them unless you really study it and you read old interviews. Again, you want to go to source material. I'd rather read source material about something like Jerry Lewis rather than taking someone's opinion about it and then going from there. I like this because I genuinely like it, and like I said, a lot of that comes from viewing the source material from when it was released, whether it be movies or interviews or other stuff, and then this too, like my own personal taste in comedy, and again, when I was talking about the kind of really like the psychology of these movies and a lot of these characters. I generally like it. It makes me laugh, and a lot of the movies are really well made, and I would almost argue that Jerry Lewis was in some ways a better director than he was a comedian. A lot of critics of the time even noted how Jerry Lewis's films were progressive as opposed to Charlie Chaplin and Buster Keaton, which that puts him pretty high on that food chain. But another important aspect to that is that Jerry Lewis had a severe reverence for Buster Keaton and Charlie Chaplin. Lest we forget that in the mid-'70s, if it wasn't for Jerry Lewis's efforts, Charlie Chaplin wouldn't have been as recognized in, let's say, pretty popular culture as he is now. Because at that point, Jerry Lewis is still alive, and I should say his career is still alive. There. But yeah, Charlie Chaplin was still alive at that point. Charlie Chaplin lived to be almost 100. He's very old. But especially being like one of those really early stars that made the foray into film and eventually film with sound. He really wasn't as recognized as he should have been. But Jerry Lewis made the effort to make his inclusion into the Academy Arts of Film. And really that's one of Jerry Lewis's best contributions. Is that, but he clearly had a severe reverence for that type of humor, but he definitely made it his own, which is why I think Jerry Lewis is as influential as those other big luminary stars of early comedy. That he understands comedy, but he also makes it specifically his own. Now, I guess the point I would make is that whether or not you actually like Jerry Lewis, I'm not gonna go out on a limb and say, hey, watch this movie and you'll be an instant fan and trust me on this. No, I'm not going to say that. It's an acquired taste. If you want to go out and learn for yourself about it, just do that. I might answer a few questions if you have them, but I'm not going to tell you either way on anything, because I think that would unduly influence your own discovery into this if you decide to go that far. But yeah, it's 1976 stuff. It even has the signature, and it's funny to imagine that somebody saved a bunch of these. I have about 5 of these, so I picked one that I thought would look good with the lighting, which isn't bad. It's kind of it's a very 70s sort of dull green. It's a dull green, but it's not like that kind of gross pea color that maybe was prevalent in a lot of kitchens and Yeah, this is kind of more of a seafoamy type of color. So, yep, so in answer to your question, Doug, I like Jerry Lewis. I got into Jerry Lewis because I started watching Jerry Lewis material, and I genuinely liked it. Alright, so I guess part of this is to briefly summarize why I think, or for different reasons, why Jaws 2 is a really good sequel, and I think that its 40th anniversary, the 40th anniversary of its theatrical release is important. And this is going. I mean, I've watched this movie on VHS and Laserdisc many times, including somewhere I have the original 1980 VHS release of this movie, which was when it first came out, was 1980. The original Jaws also came out on the VHS in 1980, and those tapes can sell for quite a bit of money. It's like they're the original releases of those movies. And actually, too, I guess I forgot to include Disco Vision, which is also a very early Laserdisc format that was prone to a lot of rotting, but I don't know if Jaws, I think Jaws was on Disco Vision, and so was Jaws 2, but I would say for all intents and purposes I'm more interested in the VHS releases of those movies, because the Laserdisc releases originally were very poorly made, and you can't even make a full analysis of them because they're missing so much information because the discs were pressed improperly and air gets in between, and that's what causes laser rot. So, yeah. Okay, so Jaws 2. I think the thing with Jaws 2, we're going to start with a movie like this. Of course, Jaws was like the original blockbuster. It was the movie that set the precedent for all, quote, blockbuster summer movies that would follow after. Jaws was the original one, and for good reason. As far as achievement on many levels, and even just on its base, the characterization and the portrayals by the actors, and the score, the editing. When you talk about a movie starting out with Jaws, it's really perfect on like every aspect of production, and that's why it's still to this day revered as far as like a really great film. And then you talk about the different motifs it creates, especially like with horror and animal horror, and the way that the town looks, and so many different aspects. So we all know. I feel for the intent of this video, I don't really have to talk about the first Jaws so much, but it really is a very, very good, and seriously to this day, one of my most watched videos ever. This is true. Jaws is definitely a movie that I've watched maybe as many times as the original 1977 Star Wars. You saw that I went as far as to not label it as A New Hope, because if I went on just the original version of that movie as in my head it exists, the Star Wars, Star Wars and Jaws are like two of my most watched movies ever. So I think for a brief break, because I'm hoping to make this next part of this segment the real meat of this video, and I want to practice a little bit so that I can hopefully capture this part, and for as far as making it a clip that I could put up, and then perhaps inserting images as far as the video editing. But yeah, I'm prefacing Jaws too. But Jaws is a really great movie on many levels. For me, it's kind of difficult when I have friends that are into a lot of other movies of that time period, especially horror. And some people watch it and they don't seem to have the same reaction to it as I do. And I don't know if that's because I saw it when I was so young, or if it's just simply, I don't know. It definitely hits me on a different level, and part of that is definitely the the production of design of it on every aspect. Like I was talking about direction, scoring, sound effects, props, costumes, characterization. Yeah, it's a really awesome movie. It totally is. So, on that basis alone, of course, I'd be really interested in Jaws too, and I was. I was at some kind of summer camp, and there was this counselor who was a little bit off. He was a little bit odd. He kind of reminded me of myself. And I started to get to know him because I think at some point I mentioned how Jaws is my favorite movie. So, of course, that discussion led to Jaws 2. I asked him a million questions about Jaws 2 because I wanted to know everything about it. I'm like, wow, there's a Jaws 2. Like, what happens in Jaws 2? Like, what about these characters? And, you know, like, I was on the edge of my seat all that summer just I wanted to know what happened in it. And that led to me buying that movie on VHS tape. And, see, that's the thing I'm trying to remember. I don't remember if I rented it first, if I may have even just purchased the tape first. That's how much I wanted to see Jaws too. I wanted to purchase and own it because I think I owned Jaws 2 on tape before Jaws. I'd seen Jaws on TV many times. Jaws was played on TV quite a bit. You know, it was on TV all the time, which of course led to its influence and the sheer amount of people that have seen it or can recognize different parts of it. It's definitely a movie made for that. And I don't know if Don Johnson's watching or not. I'm kind of rehearsing this, so Don Johnson, if you're watching, just let me know because if not, I'm kind of practicing it. So I'll capture this video clip. So on Friday night, Robert Gaines and I drove up to Berea, Ohio to Kid Force Collectibles, and with the help also of Bree Reynolds, we threw the 5th installment of the Pinball Wizard Tournament Series for 2018, which is essentially us making our own tournament and doing it in our spare time and doing it for the love of pinball while also trying to have a lot of fun and provide a lot of really good prizes. I really have to give a huge shout out to Don Johnson of Kick Force Collectibles for allowing us to host a pinball tournament there and being most gracious in that respect. And everything worked smoothly. I would have to say that of the previous 4 tournaments that we've thrown, this one went perfect. There were literally no problems at all. And Don, thank you very much for that. This one went perfectly. The internet was fine. Games were in tip-top shape. We knew ahead of time which games weren't 100%. When we started, and it was slowly whittled away. I think we had a really good tournament. We had some good prizes. Now, as everybody in the audience sees, this is a translite from a pinball machine. I'm just trying to get this stuff there. Yeah, so this translite. The translite is essentially on the backboard of a pinball machine, and is backlit, and is usually its goal is to attract people to it. So this is from the 1993 game by Gottlieb Tedov, which is seriously like one of my favorite pinball machines ever. I'm not saying it's the best one or anything like that. I'm just saying it's one of my favorite ones. And I remember being like 5 years old and seeing this game at a combination miniature golf course and driving range. And then later on too, so I first saw this game around when it came out in 1993. So imagine like this kind of like darkly lit, kind of like little house, if you will. You walk in, and then on the right, that's where you purchase rounds of miniature golf and buckets of balls for the driving range. And then on the other side, they had a little game room. Yeah, and this was totally one of the games they had. Yeah, so this game definitely captured my consciousness as a young child. And I'm very proud to say that on Friday, I did play pretty well in the tournament. And I got all the way up to tied for 5th place at the end, and having been in the top 5, I got to pick from the pool of prizes, and by some kind of stroke of luck or fate, I got to walk home with this. Like, and this is truly like such a great. This is truly like something that means so much to me, and I'm very grateful that I got it. So I have to give a really huge shout out to Don Johnson for contributing this, and I'm because of my good play, I got to choose it as a prize, and if I ever actually owned a pinball machine, this is how you would consider buying it. It's very fun. It's like I was saying, it's not for like pinball wizards or anything. It's a fun game. It's a fun game, and it's a golf game too, and it does do. And I would say, as far as like any pinball game, it nails its theme 110%. It nails the theme perfectly. It nails it so well that I think that's really why it's one of my favorites. It nails golf. It nails golfing, and it totally has this sense of humor of Caddyshack. I've seen reattempts at backlights for this game, and translights. Excuse me. I've seen recreations of translights for this game, but no, the original one is definitely that's the best one. So thank you very much, Don, for donating that, and I'm going to take very good care of it, and I'm going to display it somehow. I'm going to find some way. I'm going to find some way to make a light box and hang this up on my wall. Robert, if you're watching, I think you could definitely help me with that. And also, too, thank you to Don Johnson for giving T-shirts to Robert and I. So as you see, I'm wearing a Kid Force Collectibles T-shirt. Thank you very much, Don, for doing that for Robert and I. It's a really great shirt. It's a really great place. If you're ever up in the Cleveland area, Berea, and you're looking for a great place to play pinball, and the thing, too, I have to say about Kid Force, which really, in my opinion, sets it apart from a lot of places, is that in addition to being a true pinball parlor, it has a very, very great selection of comic books, new and old, memorabilia, new and old, toys, new and old, even video games, and a really nice place downstairs with some pinball and places for people to play their role-playing games and card games. It's a really great place, and as you see, the logo is definitely in that original Empire Strikes Back logo. So yeah, thank you very much, Don Johnson, and I have to give my full endorsement for Kid Force Collectibles. It's a really great place to go to. Not just for pinball, for any kind of fantasy, sci-fi kind of enthusiasts, and especially for pinball machines. Very great selection of pinballs. And, so I feel like I'm kind of already explaining the segment I'm about to record. So thank you to Don Barris for doing that for us. I said Don Barris. Just joke leading into another subject. Sorry, Don Johnson. Make a joke at your expense. Yeah, this is something I'm going to cherish for a long time, and thank you very much for the shirt too. Kid Force Collectibles, definitely go there. It's really great. There's a decent amount of parking. It's at a pretty safe area, and there's definitely stuff around there too if you're looking to have a night out or get some food. Definitely have Kid Force Collectibles on your mind when you're doing so. Thank you, Don.